There are moments in life when the choice in front of you feels impossible. Not because you don't know what to do, but because doing it feels too painful. Moments when your heart pulls you in one direction and your responsibility pulls you in another. Moments when you feel like saying, it's better to walk away. It's better to choose the easier path. It's better to avoid the pain. Thousands of years ago, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna faced exactly this moment. He looked at the battlefield and saw something no warrior should ever have to face. He saw Bhishma, the man who raised him. He saw Drona, the guru who taught him everything he knew. And in that moment, his heart broke. He said something that sounds noble, even wise at first. It is better to live by begging than to gain wealth and power by killing those I respect. Think about that. On the surface, it sounds like compassion. It sounds like humility. It sounds like morality. But look deeper. It is also an escape. It is the mind trying to avoid pain by dressing it up as virtue. And this is where most people make a dangerous mistake. They confuse avoidance with righteousness. They convince themselves that stepping back is the right thing to do, when in reality, they are just afraid to step forward. Let me be very clear with you. Not every soft choice is a good choice. Not every easy path is the right path. Sometimes, what feels kind is actually weakness in disguise. And sometimes, what feels harsh is actually the path of truth and growth. Arjuna wanted to avoid the battle, not because he was lazy, not because he was incapable, but because he didn't want to face the emotional pain of it. And that's exactly how most people operate today. They don't avoid things because they can't do them. They avoid things because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. They don't want to face rejection. They don't want to face failure. They don't want to face conflict. So what do? They create a story, a justification, a reason that makes their avoidance feel acceptable. I'm not ready yet. This isn't the right time. I don't want to hurt anyone. I'll do it later. But the truth is much simpler. They are avoiding their responsibility. And every time you avoid what you know you must do, you lose a piece of your confidence. You weaken your self-respect. You train your mind to believe that you are someone who backs down. That is the real cost, not the missed opportunity, not the delayed success. The real cost is the identity you build, because every action you take is shaping who you become. If you keep choosing comfort, you become comfortable. If you keep choosing avoidance, you become avoidant. If you keep choosing fear, you become fearful. And one day, you wake up and realize that you are no longer the person you once wanted to be. This is why Arjuna's moment is so powerful, because it exposes a truth that most people don't want to face. Sometimes the thing you are trying to avoid is exactly the thing you must confront to grow. Let's bring this into your life. What are you avoiding right now? A decision? A conversation? A risk? A responsibility? Maybe it's something you've been thinking about for months or even years, and every day you find a reason to delay it. But deep inside, you know it's important. You know it matters. You know it could change your life, but you're waiting for clarity, waiting for confidence, waiting for the perfect moment. Let me tell you something you might not like. The perfect moment does not exist. Clarity comes after action. Confidence comes after commitment. And the right time is created, not found. Arjuna thought walking away would bring him peace. But walking away from your duty does not give you peace. It gives you temporary relief, followed by long-term regret. Because deep inside, you will always know, I could have done more. I should have stepped up. I chose the easier path. And that thought, that quiet voice of regret, it never fully disappears. Now listen carefully. There is a difference between unnecessary conflict and necessary responsibility. You don't fight every battle in life, but the battles that define your growth, you cannot run from them. Arjuna's battle was not just about war. It was about standing up for what was right. It was about fulfilling his role, his purpose, his duty. And in your life, You have your own version of that. It may not be a battlefield, but it is still a moment of truth, a moment where you must decide. Will you step forward or will you step back? Will you grow or will you stay the same? Will you become stronger or will you remain comfortable? Because you cannot have both. You cannot have growth without discomfort. You cannot have success without sacrifice. You cannot have greatness without responsibility. Something must be given up, and usually it is your comfort. Let's go deeper. Why do people avoid responsibility? Because responsibility demands change. It demands effort. It demands discipline. It demands facing parts of yourself you would rather ignore. But avoiding responsibility doesn't make life easier. It makes you weaker, and the weaker you become, the harder life feels. On the other hand, when you step into responsibility, even though it feels heavy at first, you become stronger. And the stronger you become, the more capable you feel. And the more capable you feel, the more confident you become. This is the cycle of growth. But it starts with one decision: to stop running, to stop hiding behind excuses, to stop choosing comfort over purpose, to stop pretending that avoidance is wisdom. Arjuna had to face this truth, and so do you. Because your life will not transform until you do. You can read books, you can watch videos, you can listen to speeches like this, but none of it matters until you act, until you take that one step you've been avoiding, until you face that one thing you've been running from, until you choose growth over comfort. So here's what I want you to do. Think about that one thing, the thing you know you should do, but haven't. Now ask yourself, what is it costing me to avoid this? Not just in terms of results, but in terms of who you are becoming, because that is the real price. And then ask yourself, what could my life look like if I faced this head on? What could you become? What could you achieve? What kind of person would you be? Because that version of you is waiting on the other side of discomfort. And the only thing standing between you and that version is your willingness to step forward. So don't run, don't hide, don't settle for the easy path just because it feels safe. Because safety is not always strength. And comfort is not always peace. Sometimes true peace comes from knowing that you faced your responsibilities, that you did what needed to be done, that you did not betray your potential. That is real peace. That is real strength. That is real growth. Arjuna stood on that battlefield, ready to walk away. But if he had done that, he would have walked away from his purpose. He would have walked away from his potential. He would have walked away from the man he was meant to become. And the same is true for you. Every time you avoid your duty, you move further away from your best self. But every time you face it, you move closer. So the choice is yours. Not easy, not comfortable, but necessary. Will you choose avoidance? Or will you choose growth? Will you choose temporary relief or lasting strength? Will you choose fear or will you choose responsibility? Because your future is not decided by what you feel, it is decided by what you do. So stand up, face what you've been avoiding, take the step, do the work, and become the person you know you are capable of becoming. Because deep down, you already know what must be done. Now it's time to prove it.